Hi, this is Mary from Whole Balance. I'm just checking in on the beginning week of March 22nd. This restorative yoga practice is just for movement and guidance as we move into this next week. Taking a deep breath and taking in your surroundings just with the natural beauty that your space, your healing space, is providing. And as you do so, also take in the type of concept that your body is presenting for you. You might feel like you are warm, you're cozy, you might feel like you're a little cold, but we'll bring up some heat here in this beginning part of the practice. So allow yourself to tap in from mind and heart, and let's begin. Let's begin with cat and cow position. Stabilizing your hands. I've used a little bit of a support for my knees for comfort. Opening up the palms. This is four-post pose. Allow yourself to really feel the extension of the fingers. Root into the ground with the fronts of your toes and arches of your feet. Allow the navel to round. And then when you're extending the back, feel free to hold, taking a nice neutral breath. Round the spine. And continue on. Tadasana. And here we ground. And this is our standing pose to reconnect to the rootedness of the earth. Taking a moment to spread the feet, lift up slightly through the toes, and then lay them back down. Feel your arches of your feet planted from beginning to end of your bridge of your foot. And allow that tendon that connects from base of the heel to the front of your toes to just open up. Lift you. And begin that transporting of energy up from the earth. Let's take a deep breath in and extend the arms as well overhead. Feeling just that same sense of grounding. As we fold just slightly to the body, those hands drop in. We take them a nice deep breath and pause here. Inhale. And as we bring the hands back down, we'll just establish that nice groundedness and stall for a moment just to feel the surroundings, taking a deep breath in. Again, bring the hands up. We'll bring those hands towards the sky, bringing that edges of our fingers up, reaching the toes. And in that, let's just go ahead and flow those hands back down, moving into a nice ledge across the forward bend. As the ledge of the hips tilt, feel the pelvis just kind of soften at the top of the legs. Let the tension ripple off your shoulders back. Take a deep breath in, lifting the sky with your back, pushing outwards through different parts and different textures of your body. Exhale, come forward, release. Soften the knees. And we'll rebuild those toes, rebuild those arches. Feel the base of the heel and the moving energy of the toes. Just give you back to Tadasana. More natural, more open, and more vivid in all of your senses. Our next pose will actually be Utthita Halasana, extending the arms overhead and feeling that extension of energy, maintaining that core pulling up from that arch center of your body. Taking a breath, knowing the arch of the pelvis is just centering right and left. Make any minor adjustments, feeling also that low back, just a soft curve, and we'll just maintain this and direct our energy within. Soften the hands, and we're going to ease ourselves into Trikonasana, triangle pose. A very good pose just to release any tension across the neck. Let's just go into that first standpoint. Allowing yourself to look with the feet. As the right leg turns out towards the front of your mat, the left heel will pivot. And we know this to be holding that energy wide and even through our whole base. As the base opens, we lift the upper back and slowly glide that hip bone towards the knee. Now as we shift this first breath, begin to sense your feet and open up your back slightly, moving gently over the pelvis, over the leg. Take a deep breath in, stretching the arm, ribs, and collarbone all towards that ceiling of the left hand. Take a moment and let's come back up. As you lower the hands, just readjust your feet, kind of get a little bit more calmness through the heel to the toes. Reach in and move back into the pose, finding that you can come forward into that leg position. Rotate the ribs, lift the arms again, the collarbone and eyes to the ceiling, and continue on for several breaths. To come out, allow yourself to just adjust those shoulders, release, and rotate towards the right side. We'll put that left side, we'll just open up that foot, reach both hands, and again, glide the body for this first segment just over the leg. Feeling yourself just adjust to that composition. Letting the heart, letting the breath all ease you into that rotation. You'll notice that that hand is lighter and easier. Taking a breath, come back up, and go into this again. This time, just allowing yourself to soften the shoulders, keeping the distance from the ears, and move gently back into the pose. As you definitely continue with soft breaths and some structure in your knees, allow yourself to reach out of that arm area and focus your attention skyward. Soften the arms. And we'll allow ourselves to just do this wide angle pose that is also opening up the low back. And it is a shift towards your right side again, allowing a motivation of your body to the forward bend, Parsvottanasana. Of 3 positions with the hands, we can allow them to extend forward, and we'll demonstrate that now. And it is really the one that causes you to really work your ankles in steadiness. The toes forward, shifting the hips towards the knee. Just allow your hands to walk down the shins, reach in front of the toes, and if they can touch, then allow your lower back to tilt a little further. Eyes to go to the knee, taking a breath and releasing. What you'll notice here is that long length of the leg is like you are feeling the different filaments of the leg release. It's a beautiful sense. The more we stay in our foot and move that energy through the arch of the foot, we'll feel relaxed. And then coming out, feel like your butterfly wings open you up and you can release back and soften the arms. Continue on to the second placement of the arms. And this is just a little bit of a crossing of the elbows behind you, securing the hands right here and right around those forearms. This works a steady attention to your back and gives you just a little more sense of a deeper breath, which releases the neck and encourages the low back a little more attention in this pose. Similarly, we're stretched over that leg. We breathe in, lengthen the spine more, and continue on to the forward bend, chin to knee. Hold steady, deep breaths, and then slowly lift out of the pose. The third, and a little bit more liberating for your wrists, is to go into reverse prayer pose. Starting with the fingers touching, allow yourself to glide the fingers back up towards the mid-back. And if you have discomfort in the wrists, many of you know this is not indicated. So, we'll just keep that breath, keep those butterfly wings, and proceed to the third option, if it's available. The neck, free to move, continues to shift forward, taking tension from the upper body and spilling it out through both legs. Lengthen the spine, come gently up, and we'll release those fingertips, shake off the hands, and we'll go to the other directions, allowing the left foot to turn towards the front of the mat. When we turn here, allow that leg to come through, and we'll just demonstrate that forward bend with arms forward. Watching that breath, allowing the eyes to focus, extending the long lines of your back. And you can notice that the foot is helping lengthen both from the right and the left legs. And they stay very connected during that movement back out. When we bring the hands, consider the alternate crossing of the forearms with each palm and come forward again, leading with your chest, lengthening the back during an exhale. Gives a nice transition and also helps reduce some of the tension we build up in that lower gut. Continue to shift the eyes, focus on your grounding, and lower the attention of your eyes to the shin. Butterfly wings coming back up. And of course, the third option is to refer the hands into reverse prayer pose. And you know, it takes a moment to get that work. But then that pulls the chest back open and we lead with a little bit more innervation as we breathe. Pausing and continuing on with the deep pose. Shake those wrists off and let's come back into a neutral standing pose of Tadasana. I just want to give a short approach to what the warrior poses mean to me. They mean bringing and gathering energy. And that's what these flowers do. And these are photographs by Doris Lantz, one of my yoga, hiking, and photographer colleagues. But that gathering of energy is what's happening in the spring right now. These buds are bursting. And I think the warrior energy is that movement with the sun to open up. So let's go ahead with the series and allow ourselves to use the front of the mat sincerely as we trace that right leg forward, bend the knee, tracking that leg just in a comfortable place, getting that vertical lift to the heel. It's the rear leg that creates the focus here and the movement. So we want to feel that like the stalk of the plant, grounded, connected. And we'll just go ahead and bring those arms back up and think of that plant emerging, taking a deep breath in, lengthening the back of the neck, opening the energy. If your arms are fatigued or cannot open up the chest sufficiently, feel free to lower the hands or flex the elbows slightly to the side, keeping them in your periphery. Inhale several times, holding the position for approximately 30 seconds. Knee tracks, inhale, and then release the energy in the arms. Let's do the other side. Using the legs, bring them back in, step back with the right leg, and pivot the navel so it's tracking, just moving with the pelvis. As we bring the arms to our preferred position, allow yourself to again feel that energy of the stalk rising. Getting the nutrients from the ground, reaching up to the ultimate growth and petals that might sparkle out through the different upper conscious chakras. Taking another breath, release tension, and go ahead and flow back into the deeper bend of the knee. Release your hands. We're going to go right to a forward bend Uttanasana. So track that leg forward and just allow yourself to adjust your legs as evenly as possible towards a close, intimate feel of the inner thighs. And we'll just go ahead and bring our hands to the front of our hips and just feel that movement of the hips as we come down and move back up. If you finish with any tightness in your low back, consider changing your feet focus just a little wider and try again, moving forward. At this point, the knees might soften for those with tighter hamstrings. And we continue that movement forward, letting the ribs glide over, lengthen through, releasing the arms. Deep breaths. Moving out of Uttanasana, the arms can flow again like those petals of butterfly wings moving and bringing that breath overhead just to finish in a nice composition back to the heart center. Consider another feel in Uttanasana, and that would be starting with bent knees and allowing your hips to shift to that intimate place right on top of them. Hands instead may not reach the floor, so bring them behind you and just connect to that inner kind of pull against the legs. Let your upper back release, and as the knees straighten, you'll find yourself moving a little bit more easy into that forward stretch. When ready, soften the knees and roll up vertebrae by by feeling that sense of gravity, that sense of lightness. Finish with the arms reaching into that overhead position and returning to Tadasana to be gentle and grounded. Warrior Two gives us a little bit more sense of that power. And this is the branching out that spring brings to us. So as we bring the arms extended, the collarbones wide, we'll track that right knee again over the ankle. Push off slightly with your back leg and just allow yourself to focus gently into that broad stretch. Our clear focus in this lower pelvis is opening up, but also front to back. We are finding that sense of a neutral alignment with our hips. Feeling like we have an open canopy all around us. We feel back, front, forward, and rear movement simultaneously. Inhale. Let me show it to you from the other side. Pivoting my feet in a natural construction, reaching the hands, bending the knees, and gliding the arms. Taking a long, deep breath, opening up again to the different angles of the pose, staying centered and focused, and then soften those arms, bring the legs up. The standing forward bend has 3 versions that make us feel a little bit freer and starts to bring our energy down at the end of our standing practice. So we'll again feel that movement of the hips turning forward. If there's any tightness, discomfort, we have 2 choices: bend the knees, of course, or we can change the angles of the feet, either wider or we can go narrower. So as you continue on, we can also bring the hands away from the hips and steady those platforms of the palms against a block or the mat. Most of us try to feel like we can go further by shifting the hips back. But we want to keep into the front motion here, feeling that nice sense of stability before we accelerate the forward bend and release the pressure right down to the ankles. Rest the energy thoroughly. Keep grounded in the feet. Explore the wide angle of the hips. And when ready, slowly lift the head. Hands return to the knees or the hips, and we'll come right back out of the pose. Let's go down to Sukhasana. Again, this is an easy pose. Many of us prefer extra props in this position. So let me just demonstrate that you could use a yoga block or simple yoga blankets to prop up your knees. Underneath your pelvis may additionally be another blanket just to allow that nice neutral low back shoulder stability feel. This is a great pose to practice the attention of your spine. And we use this for many pranayama or controlled breathing practices. Squeezing the shoulder blades slightly in and then relaxing them down gives you a sense that there's an openness and a smiling energy across your collarbones. Check in with your neck and feel that length, very neutral, much like a bobbing feel. Finally, check in back with your groundedness of anything that's touching the earth, your hips, your knees, your hips, the sit bones. Make sure that there is a good, solid grounding and as much balance right to left as you can feel. Next pose is actually getting into a little bit of a shoulder stand. And during this allergy season, it's really a helpful way to kind of dissuade some of the allergens, the histamines that build up. And so we recommend that if you're new to shoulder stand, you watch some of the accompanying videos. But I personally like to use a couple of extra blankets to help my neck in these positions. Allowing the bolster that was underneath my hips to become a support for my neck and shoulders, we use the fold of the blanket nice and even so that the neck can flail over the edge. Using the wall as a prop to get up, if that assists you, keeps the stress off of your low back muscles and shoulders. Test that you can go ahead and feel that motion against the wall and allow yourself to bridge the feet into the air. Once in place, go ahead and allow yourself to explore the feeling of shoulders close together again, the energy moving into the spine. Extend from the middle of your waist, the legs up, reaching actively into all of the toes. Stay calm in the back shoulders and heads. When it's right, you might also go into plow pose, or we call the Atascadero. Oof. As we slowly ease into that pose, the knees will stay with a lot of friction and openness, stretching the back lines of the legs. In Halasana, the energy may not go all the way to the floor. We keep extending the energy of the feet and lifting the pelvis to get a little more energy draw through the spine. Return to the shoulder stand and just allow yourself to feel that vertical energy one last time, reaching up through the ankles before you free yourself from the pose. Remove your hands and slowly come back out. If you have a little bit more room to work with, you can extend your halasana to focus your feet on the wall, creating more lift to your pelvis. Let me demonstrate. Rolling back to where your shoulders are still supported, the neck is neutral, and just shift the energy back into shoulder stand. Once you feel the energy, shift the feet to the wall. Maintain that alignment of the knees, and continue to focus that energy through the lift of the back. When you're ready, return back out of the pose, softening the knees and rolling gently out. Our final restorative pose today is a version of Setu Bandhu, which is normally known as the bridge pose. I like this pose because it gives just a little bit of shoulder tension, a break. It's a nice thing to do if you're spending a little bit more time in the kitchen, driving, or on the computer longer than usual. So making a little blanket or a support system for our pelvis and whole torso, as well as something to put your feet on, is the approach here. You'll be lying on that full pad and then placing your feet either on a block or on some other type of a blanket device. Notice that it's really easy to get onto, so you just kind of ease yourself on, let your feet come towards the bolster, and you can adjust as necessary. The benefits of this are also opening that chest and lung and diverting the energy towards the immune system, letting that thymus open up. Shoulders touch the floor, head is neutral, and arms are supported over each side of your temples. Stay here as long as 5 minutes, as long as there's no tension in the back legs or neck. Continue your breathing, opening the chest and aligning energy through the legs. to come out, bend the knees, release your hands, and just kind of, this can get a little bit open, and so just easing it into a gentle curve can release tension. Beautiful restorative pose, and as I said, one of our favorites. With the blankets all in position, this is a good time to just go ahead and show you a nice quiet Shavasana. Today, letting these bolsters come underneath the knees, a little bit of a rest above my body with the blanket. Just go ahead and lay the knees softly over the edge. Place the blanket as a courtesy, a comfort, and a weightedness across as much of your torso as you need. Begin to remember, I think, your practice today, what you brought in, that feeling that we're bringing in the beginnings of spring. And let's just go ahead and let ourselves be that final brewing of the seed, starting, the petals growing. Take in all your surroundings and bring them peacefully down to the floor. And then allow your eyes to just shield you from the light. Put your hands to either side and again connect those inner shoulder blades. And in a restful way, begin to let go of tension. And you might feel that as a sweeping breath, as a turning out of the muscles of the body, and a shutting down of the mind, allowing it to go to the heart. Allow the final pose to be one of really gentle awakening. Getting the feet to just gently rock side to side. The neck and shoulders to follow. Allow yourself a simple twist of the hips and alignment of energy out through one side of your body. Just remember that spine just really enjoys that reawakening very slowly. But also, it enjoys the transfer of energy equally to the other side. So make sure you give about as much time to the other side. And the same type of release. As you gently come back up, allow yourself to feel the room again. Adjust any bolster underneath your pelvis that you might need. And just kind of reflect on the accomplishments of your pose. Bringing in the nature of relaxation, the abundance of breath, the movement and warmth in your joints, and along the nice, easy creases of your seated posture. Continue in peace. Namaste.